All right, everybody. I am here at Golden One Center, sitting up on the second bridge level. I don't know if the mic is picking up the ambient sounds of the arena right now, but the Golden State Warriors were able to get another road win and pulled off a 120-100 win over the Sacramento Kings in Game 7 after the Kings forced a Game 7 and won in Game 6 on Saturday. And while it wasn't a game that was befitting of just how great this series has been, we got to talk about Stephen Curry really quick, and I will get to the Kings in a second, but Steph's a legend, man. He is somewhere between a top 5 and top 10 player of all time, and he put together another legendary game when his team's season was on the line and their championship defense was in jeopardy. He had 50 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, and some of the shots in the fourth quarter were just mean. But it didn't, in the moment, Steph is going off hitting shots, but it still doesn't feel like the Steph Curry heater, if that makes any sense. Steph Curry's my second favorite player ever. I've seen a lot of great Steph Curry games. This is my first time seeing a legendary Stephen Curry game in person. Well, it's my first playoff games in person, but you get what I'm saying. But Steph had a legendary game, was on fire. The Kings could not stop him, and it was just methodical. Floaters. He went 7 of 18 from 3, so he took it inside more, got to the free throw line a bit more. Actually, surprising enough, he missed 2 free throws, and the Kings crowd now can have free crumble cookies, which is like their promotion when someone misses 2 free throws. And who would have thought it would have been Steph Curry to offer that up? But I guess he had to give the Kings fans something for, the performance he just gave. I mean, the Kings were up 58-56 at half. It was a little bit sloppy to start the game. Both teams were not shooting particularly well. It had the starts of a usual Game 7, nerves and all that stuff. And then the Kings started to find their footing a little bit. De'Aaron Fox really didn't play well in the first half. Got it going a little bit in the third quarter, but was still just not good, finishing in the 2-point range. And he had a few careless turnovers, and I think the finger actually started to really bother him towards the end. He was just really loose with his handle and giving the ball away. Domantas Sabonis, I thought, played better in the first half. He had 16, 5, and 4, but then he just went completely ghost in the second half. Played like he had been for most of the series, which is not good. Kevon Looney dominated the glass in the third quarter. The Warriors, I think, had like 14 or 15 offensive rebounds in the third quarter alone, which is wild. But once Looney started dominating the glass and the Warriors started getting second chance points, the Warriors started pulling away. And Kevon Looney, and I was talking about it with one of my good friends sitting next to me on Media Row, but Stephen Curry is obviously the best player in this series. He was the best player in this series. But do the Warriors win this series without the play of Kevon Looney? The first 2 games, Game 1, Kevon Looney had 7 rebounds. Game 2, he had 9 rebounds. And since then, he has had 3 20-rebound games in this series. He had a 14-rebound game and a 15-rebounding game mixed in there somewhere. But he finished with, looking at the scoreboard in front of me, he had finished with 21 rebounds, and a lot of them were offensive. He really started crushing the Kings on the glass in the third quarter. And that was all she wrote, because once again, the Kings got nothing out of Kevin Huerter. He hit the first 3 of the game, and I was like, oh, maybe the shots he hit in the fourth quarter of Game 6 to extend the lead, maybe he might have a little rhythm coming into this game. Nope. It was nothing but stinker after stinker. And, you feel for the Kings because Huerter was really good this year. He was one of the best offseason moves and a really crucial offseason pickup and trade for Sacramento. But this series, he just laid a total goose egg. Harrison Barnes was giving them nothing on the offensive end either. And really, by the end of it, I mean, going into the fourth quarter, the Warriors were up 10, and the Kings put in their best lineup to try and climb their way back into the game, and the Warriors just rolled out their starting five going into the fourth quarter. Draymond Green, by the way, was inserted back into the starting lineup for Jordan Poole, who I don't even know if I can describe the games that Jordan Poole has had in this series. Not good, to be polite. But the Warriors rolled with their starting five to open up the fourth quarter, and the Warriors extended the lead, and that was all she wrote. And it was a great season for the Kings. It was a great series. This series was great. The Kings had plenty of chances to win this series. They were clearly the faster and younger team, more athletic team, and gave the Warriors problems with their pace, their athleticism, their transition scoring, the fact that the Kings' best player is the fastest point guard in the NBA, and the Warriors had trouble with that. But in the second half, the Warriors buckled down on defense. They took the legs out of the Kings, crashing the offensive glass so much, and the Warriors just started missing in the fourth quarter. And they weren't like close misses, they were missing badly. But it's a tough thing to swallow for Kings fans right now, but this was a great season for the Sacramento Kings. I had this team as a play-in going into the season. I thought I loved their offseason. I loved the moves they made. I was completely wrong on the Sabonis-Halliburton thing. It was a win-win trade for both teams. But it's obviously a sour end, but it's a great season. First playoff appearance in 17 years. The city was jumping. And the Kings have a young core, actually. A lot of people think that the Kings core can't get better. The average age of this Kings core has to be around 25 or 26. A lot of their core players are 27 and under. So the Kings definitely have room to get better. One of their most important players, Domantas Sabonis, has to find some other way to score in the offseason. He has to develop some more moves in his bag because aside from the lefty jump hook and then, battery ramming your way down into the block until you get to your lefty jump hook, that can't be the only move you have. The Warriors were sitting on the right hand. They were playing off of Sabonis 15 feet whenever he was at the elbow and daring him to shoot those 15-footers, daring him to try to go one-on-one and eat up the space that was given to him in the paint and try to score over Kevon Looney and Draymond Green, which was, a dicey proposition the entire series. And like I mentioned in my previous videos before, the Warriors laying off of Kevon Looney, well, it wasn't in my previous videos. It was something that I wrote about recently. But the Warriors playing off of Domantas Sabonis allowed the Warriors to cut off the backside cutting that the Kings like to do, where Domas will hit cutters on the backside from the elbow with his bounce passes. The Warriors were content going under on dribble handoffs and trying to recover by ducking behind the screen and recovering back over instead of going over the dribble handoff action. And Domas was just really ineffective in this series. The stuff he likes to do, half of it was taken away. Actually, probably like 75% of it was taken away because not only was the passing lanes taken away, not only was the scoring taken away, Kevon Looney dominated Domantas Sabonis on the glass. And also, Domantas Sabonis had less rebounds and less assists than Kevon Looney in this series, which is not something you expected going into the series. And if you had told me or Kings fans before the series that would be the case, they would probably tell you something went awry and they would probably lose the series, which is what happened. De'Aaron Fox was spectacular in this series. Game 6, you could kind of tell the handle was a little loose. The finger was affecting him. And then Game 7, he just didn't have it. And he tried his hardest. He defended Steph well. Mike Brown kind of went away from matching Davion Mitchell's minutes with Steph Curry's minutes starting in Game 6 and decided to match De'Aaron Fox with Steph Curry a little bit more. And he tried his damnedest. That's the thing. This was a hard-fought series, and this is why I had the Warriors winning this series. They're the defending champs. Road record be damned. I honestly really didn't care about the Warriors' regular season road record. They're the defending champs for a reason. There's a reason that whenever Steph, Clay, and Draymond are all healthy and play a playoff series, they always win a road game in that playoff series. During the entirety of the Steph, Clay, Draymond era, the Warriors have won at least one playoff game on the road in every series. And they had to do it twice in this series, which was a little dicey because I thought they were going to close it out in Game 6, but that wasn't the case. And Steph Curry put on one of the legendary performances ever. Most points in a Game 7 in a playoffs by an NBA player, Stephen Curry with 50 points. And his team needed every single bit of it, especially because Klay Thompson looked like Klay Thompson just did not look like Klay Thompson in this game. It wasn't even just the 1 for 10 shooting in the first half and then the 4 for 19 to finish the game. It was some dumb turnovers, some bad shots, forcing up some bad shots, but that's why you have number 30 if you're the Warriors, and you have one of the 10 greatest players ever. And sometimes it's just that simple. But it was a fun season for the Kings. Can't believe I got to go to all 4 of these games at home at Golden One Center, but I know it's a tough pill to swallow for Kings fans right now, but it was a great season. De'Aaron Fox has stamped himself as one of the best point guards in the NBA, and it'll be interesting to see what the Kings do to add on to this, but this team is not going away anytime soon, but the defending champions also made sure to let them know that they still have some unfinished business, and they're not going away either. But legendary game for Steph.